Paul Harrell, weekdays from 4 to 6. Learn more at paulharrell.com.
A negative light. And Asa, he went on again today with Allison Camerata. He keeps going on MSNBC and CNN. Here it is from yesterday. Take a listen.
He tweeted, very different strategy. As I have always said, let Obamacare fail
Donald
and then
Trump's
come
tweet.
Together and do a great health care plan. Stay tuned. Which one do you support? Try to repeal it and come up with a new plan in 2 years, or simply let Obamacare, as the president says, fail and see what happens?
Well, I think that illustrates the fact that we need to let the dust settle a little bit, and some wise heads needs to get together to figure out the direction. What Democrats and Republicans agree upon is that what we have right now is not workable over the long term. It's costing too much. We need to have more accessibility. So I hope that the Democrats will come to the table. I hope that they will participate in the next stage of the solution, because we've got to change it. We've got to have that reform, and Democrats need to be at the table to accomplish that.
Stop. Joining us now to talk about this and just the entire Obamacare situation going on right now in D.C. and Arkansas, we have Richard Castor. He's the chairman of the Baxter County Republicans. Richard, welcome back to the program. What's your response to that, sir?
Thank you, Paul. I tell you, I think we have one of D.C.'s greatest swamp monsters living here in Little Rock. Just an absolute disgrace for us. You know, we need to let the dust settle. What does that even mean? That means throw our hands up and don't do anything. This is exactly why back in 2009 and 2010, when the Tea Party movement came to life, and we threw out Blanche Lincoln, we threw out Mark Pryor, we threw out Democrats across this great nation and elected so-called conservative Republicans. This is why we elected them. And first we gave them the House, and they said, oh, well, we need the Senate. Then we gave them the Senate. Well, we need the White House. Well, we gave them a bulldog in the White House now. And the establishment Republicans still won't let this go through. And I tell you, Paul, it's affecting all of us in ways we don't even see. I was talking to, I'm not allowed to say his name or the business name, and I'm sorry about that, but I was talking to a CEO of a company today based here in Arkansas that has 100 employees. They are $200,000 over their budget. We're here halfway through the year. They're $200,000 over their budget because they give health care to their employees.
Wow.
They're $200,000 over their yearly budget for that already halfway through the year. That's what's happening to Arkansas businesses across this state. And our governor is more than willing just to sit there and to let it continue.
Yeah.
And, Paul, we're at a sad place right here and right now, and it may take a great sweep of primaries across this nation to really get the results we're looking for.
I think you're right. We're talking with Richard Castor. Talk Business and Politics, Richard, has sat down with Tom Cotton. There's an interview. I haven't read it. I haven't seen it. It's supposed to be up over at talkbusiness.net at some point today. But they have a few tweets. And this tweet is interesting to me. They report that Senator Tom Cotton said one breakthrough with the GOP caucus is finding more Medicaid money for certain states. He says Arkansas may be one. We've had Governor Hutchinson begging D.C. for more money. We expanded Medicaid. We implemented Obama's policy, and now we're doing everything we can. It seems like for our leadership in this state to try to keep it. They don't want to have to go and say, look, you're not entitled to free health insurance if you're an able-to-work adult. My question to you is, do you think Senator Cotton and Senator Bozeman have any responsibility to try to make establishment Republicans here that implemented a key Democrat policy, any better? I mean, are they responsible to try to let's try to make everything okay? That question's probably phrased wrong, but do you understand the point?
No, I understand what you're saying, and I think it goes to a basic question that we as Republicans have to ask ourselves, which is: do we as a party do we fight for more people on welfare, more people on Medicaid rolls, Medicaid and Medicare, or do we want less people on welfare, less people living off of the state? And I know Senator Cotton, and I know that in his heart he believes the answer to that is we want less people living off the government, less people getting these government subsidies, and we want more people who have the ability and the dignity to earn their own paycheck and to pay for their own insurance, to pay for their own health care bills. We want that as conservatives because that is how a human really flourishes, right? That's how we become who God made us to be, which is hardworking individuals who live an honest, hardworking life, right? That's what we as conservatives want. And all we want is for the government to secure our rights and to get out of our way. We don't want the government involved in every aspect of our lives. And so if Senator Cotton or his people are listening, we absolve you of whatever responsibility you feel that you have here in the state of Arkansas to continue these programs, because we don't want them. And I promise you, if we let the free market reign, if we allow these insurance companies to compete, we'll have different health care plans that we've never even thought of. You know, before Obamacare passed in 2009, Mercy Hospitals out of Missouri was moving into Arkansas. They were about to build a location here in Baxter County. We had our insurance through them, some of the best insurance I've ever had in my entire life. But the moment it looked like Obamacare was going to pass, they left the state of Arkansas because they couldn't compete anymore. Because the only thing that these government programs do is reward these companies who are connected to the politicians who write the rules, who make up the game and allow their friends to win the game in these big corporations. And, you know, I'm so sick of hearing these Democrats always, saying that we are just fighting for the little people, right? And that these progressives are, they're the ones that fight for the little people. We're the ones that deal with these corporations. This isn't the games we play. We're the ones who shouldn't be making deals with these big companies. We're the ones who should be fighting for everyone to have the same chance at every deal that anyone else can have in this country, right? Yeah. We want competition. We want free market principles. We don't need to have these state-mandated healthcare programs where people like you and I, or that business I was talking about, are having to pay. Remember, one of the requirements was you needed contraceptive care and abortion care if you're a 45-year-old male who is single.
Oh, you never know. Maternity care. I mean, I'm going to need, I might get pregnant. Care. Who knows?
Yeah. In Obama's America, you never knew what was going to happen. But in Trump's America, we're pretty sure that won't happen at all.
I guess I'd have to transition to a liberal radio host. I guess.
True.
So we're talking with Richard Castor. So let's talk more broad. And I want to say something about Senator Bozeman, Senator Cotton. I mean, they've run these amazing campaigns over the last several cycles, and they've run against Obamacare. And I don't doubt that they're not still against Obamacare. They are. They want to vote on just a repeal bill. The governor's quoted in the Gazette today as saying he doesn't support that. They do support that. I just don't want them to feel like they have to listen to Asa Hutchinson, because Asa Hutchinson is the governor. He's trying to protect a policy of progressivism and liberalism that is, like you said earlier, Richard, it's about dependency. But more broadly, let's talk about this Obamacare thing in D.C. In December of 2015, you had 52 U.S. senators, including Senator Bozeman, including Senator Cotton, voting for the measure to just get rid of it. It was vetoed by Barack Obama. The talk was, at least late yesterday, it's kind of evolved now since the Trump lunch, but to go ahead and let's bring that back up. 52 senators voted for it, and now you have some of them, that one senator from West Virginia, and others saying, no, we won't vote on something we voted for in 2015. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it really goes to show how dishonest a lot of these people are, and how half of what happens in Washington, D.C. is for show, right? They voted for that bill because they knew it would never get anywhere back in 2015. They knew it when it passed. So the only repercussion of it was, well, it'll make the base happy, so we'll throw them a little red meat and we'll move on with our lives. And then behind closed doors, when they're talking to their lobbyist friends or they're talking to their big donors, they'll say, well, I knew it wasn't going to pass. That's the only reason why I voted for it. But now that we're starting to get some sunlight in Washington, D.C., now that we're starting to get a better understanding of how things work and what's going on up there, these votes are actually very important because they're showing us what these people truly believe and what their principles are. And, I know Trump had these people, these senators, to lunch today in the White House. And one can only pray he's bashing some heads together because that's what these people need. We've already heard rumor that Trump is going to primary Jeff Flake, who has the perfect last name. He's that senator that just, he's a flake of a guy. He doesn't stand for anything and is happy to cave to the liberals at every turn. But it's going to take us supporting these primary opponents, getting more true conservatives up in Washington, D.C., because we're in an era of American politics where being Republican isn't good enough anymore. We need platform Republicans, what you always say, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
These people who actually believe what the parties should stand for. And I think what we're seeing with Senator Cotton is he is, I believe, one of the good guys.
Me too.
But he needs to know that we will have his back if he goes against the governor. We will be here for him. Mm-hmm. And I know me and my friends and you and people who listen to you all across the state will rally behind him and give their time, their treasure, and in the words of our founding fathers, their sacred honor to defend a good senator who's willing to make the hard decisions.
Yeah. Do you have any fears? Because, now, he had Donald Trump back on June 30th, around that date. He said, you know what, if we can't get the replacement done, let's just do the repeal. Yesterday, we found out they didn't have the votes for the repeal and replace. Donald Trump then floats again. We're going to do the repeal. Rand Paul, we're going to do the repeal. Senator Cotton was on Hugh Hewitt's show saying, hey, let's just do the straight repeal. And now we've had the lunch, and now we're going to have another stab at it. They say they're going to try to take another vote Monday for the repeal and the replace. Are you worried at all that, because this has been described as kind of an Obamacare light situation, yes, it's going to put it will probably end Medicaid in Arkansas. It probably will do that because we're not going to be able to afford the match rate shifts. But there's some concern about Obamacare taxes. My concern is, Richard, that it will not lower premiums for working Arkansans who used to could afford their insurance and now they can't. Have you heard anything about that? Are you concerned about how that could get tied around Donald Trump's neck?
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have to be careful with that because if we do nothing, I think there is something to be said that the establishment and the Democrat Party, they would both own Obamacare. When in your time frame there, when it looked like nothing was going to get done, Trump came out and said, well, the Democrats will own this. Mm-hmm. And then they floated that idea, well, let's just repeal it and give ourselves 2 years to find a new solution, which 2 years is a little bit too long for my taste. But and then we find out there's 3 Republican senators who won't vote for a straight repeal. These rhinos that we like to call them, Republicans in name only, who won't fulfill their campaign promises. And so now that brought us back to the drawing board where we're going to try one more time, like you said. And we do have to be careful that we don't create a bill where premiums won't go down and people won't see a significant change. Because if we take on the political capital of we're going to repeal and replace this thing and we don't give ourselves something great, then the people will just vote us out of office too, because we'll be just as bad as the other guys. But I hope what we'll see in whatever new draft they come up with, something where we roll back Medicaid expansion and we bring about a new era of competition in the healthcare industry. We bring about more healthcare savings accounts, which are incredible things. Paul, I have one of them, and they're a great program that can do a lot of good here in this country. If we do that, if we allow competition between state lines, and then if we can use our Health and Human Services Secretary to just demolish any regulations that are left and that are harmful, I think we could construct a bill that I would feel comfortable voting for, even if it wasn't perfect. Okay. And at this point in the game, I think we rush the ball down the field. We throw the Hail Mary and we take the best deal we can get because these scoundrels in D.C. are making this way too hard. They're making this harder than it should be for us.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and I like you said, I mean, I definitely understand the whole HHS argument is actually a legitimate one. I mean, that's Obamacare was originally passed as a shell, and then you let the bureaucrats fill in and make essentially
correct.
I mean, and so with Tom Price there, you do have the chance to to try to control this thing, which is not what we are ultimately for as conservatives, but at the same time we just want lower premiums, and they're going to have to find a way to deliver on that, or it's going to be, the American people are going to be pretty upset about that. But Richard Castor, really good points that you've made here today, and I just want to point out, I mean, one more time here, the House version came out. I'll get your comment on this, and then we'll have to go. The House version came out of this repeal, and Asa Hutchinson came out against it. He was to the left of Paul Ryan. The Senate plan came out, and Asa Hutchinson was to the left of Mitch McConnell. Then they just wanted a repeal only, and Asa was again to the left of Mitch McConnell. That is startling, and I just wish more Arkansans knew that, because I think if they did, we would maybe have a different government right now in Arkansas.
Absolutely. And I'll say it again, I think with Asa Hutchinson down in Little Rock, we've had one of D.C.'s worst swamp monsters migrate to the south. And we've seen him govern that way as just an establishment, get along to go along, moderate, if not a liberal politician down as our governor, and that is something that should change. And I may get in trouble for saying that with my position in the party, but I don't care, because that is what the people of Arkansas want. They want a conservative, right? They want someone who believes like we believe and who will fight for change. Arkansas should be a beacon in the South. With our resources and with as many Republicans as we have around this state, we should have policies and regulatory reform that should be an example for our neighboring state, and we're not that right now. Right now, we are just a shameful state of things right now, and that needs to change for sure.
Richard Castor, I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much. You be safe, and we'll do it again soon.
Thank you, Paul.
All righty. Folks, we got to go to break. Really good stuff there from Richard Castor. He's the host of The View from Hillsdale. He's a Hillsdale College graduate, and he's in Baxter County. Folks, we're going to take a break. Back in a minute.